After dutifully blasting my way through the last few good but not great expansions for Borderlands 3, it brings me great joy to tell you that Bounty of Blood, a Fistful of Redemption, is next level. In fact, this might be my favorite Borderlands-anything since Borderlands 2 way back in 2012. Bounty of Blood takes place on the planet Gehenna, a blend of the American Wild West and feudal Japan. The unusual setting leans much more heavily on the western side for its tropes, but the Japanese-inspired architecture integrates incredibly well and makes Bounty of Blood the best-looking Borderlands 3 expansion to date. It's kind of funny to think Borderlands, a series whose origins drew inspiration from the fusion of the American frontier and science fiction futurism, would come full circle like this. Somewhere along the way, Borderlands felt like it shifted away from being about lands on the border, so it's great to have that old familiar feel back in a way, even if it's explicit rather than implicit.
Newcomer! Newcomer!
The story, at first blush, seems like a cliche. Quite literally, there's a new sheriff in town.
Find Juno. Badge is hers now.
Your main objective is to retrieve the Obsidian Stone, a monument of sorts to the days when Gehenna was used to create biological weapons. What really kicks it up a notch, though, is the narration from the Liar, a grizzled old cowpoke who guides your progress. His lines were something I didn't even know I wanted until I had it, and now I just can't get enough.
Final stop. Now the Vault Hunter needed to find out where that train was going. Figured the conductor would know, if he was still in one piece.
Bounty of Blood also practices some restraint when it comes to humor. That's not to say there aren't any jokes in it, far from it. They're here, and they definitely fit the overall Borderlands 3 tone. But, as far as the main quest, Gearbox pumped the brakes on the humor and went for a mellower tone.
Juno! You seeing this?
Oh, you mean the big damn explosion that lit up the sky? Yeah, I saw.
It's more Jeff Bridges in The Big Lebowski and less Jeff Daniels in Dumb and Dumber. This Goldilocks zone approach to jokes makes the comedy just so much more effective. With each story mission flowing so expertly into the next over about 6 hours, I didn't want to stop playing. The pacing is wonderful, with none of the unnecessary filler that annoyed me in the main game and some of the previous DLC. The Liar's dialogue helps keep things moving, too. The one letdown is side quests are pretty much more of the same. Yeah, the loot is good, but the missions are fetchy and uninspired. Think of the coffee fetch quest mission from the main game to get an idea of the side mission structure. Areas in Bounty of Blood are huge and beg for exploration. I was really impressed by how massive and well-planned each map is, and appreciated how, in spite of their size, these areas feel easy to navigate. Loot is plentiful, too. I managed to score orange rarity loot drops well before the end of the story, and letting me use those fancy new toys for the final battle was a nice touch. I absolutely adore my Bloom Jacobs pistol. Charging it up unleashes all 6 powerful shots in a rapid, bloody flurry, often resulting in instant death for foes. There are also some new elements in place during regular battles, like an alien plant you can shoot that releases a cloud of mind-controlling spores, causing an enemy to temporarily fight on your side. Even the boss fights in Bounty of Blood's story are nicely paced and never feel overwhelming or beyond the realm of possibility to solo. As the cherry on top, the payday for beating the main quest was fantastic! Not only did the big baddie drop a hill of goodies after defeat, the immediate aftermath in the post-game introduced me to a cache of gear that nearly brought a tear to my eye. Feels real good is what I'm saying. With well-paced comedy, fun boss fights, and an East meets West setting I absolutely love, and some high-powered loot, Borderlands 3 Bounty of Blood, a Fistful of Redemption is the most Borderlands since Borderlands 2. Yeah, this is some great DLC. The clever main story, the use of the grizzled narrator, and some cool new characters make these some of my favorite Borderlands hours in almost a decade. I wish the freshness had carried over to the side quests, but there's enough in the way of exploration and collectibles and strong writing to make up for the numerous fetch quests that still rear their ugly heads. For more Borderlands goodness, check out our review of Guns, Love, and Tentacles, The Marriage of Wainwright and Hammerlock, and for everything else, keep it right here on IGN.
We're happy to present IGN's Summer of Gaming, featuring the latest and greatest in game reveals, news, trailers, next-gen coverage, and more. Our month-long event features our first ever series of IGN Expos, where you'll get first looks at world premiere game trailers, exclusive game demos, and interviews you won't find anywhere else. IGN's Summer of Gaming, only on IGN and IGN One on Samsung TV Plus.